Hello, today we are going to see how to use dependency injection in .NET Core. So the first thing we will do is create a small application in .NET Core. We will create a web application. So we will look for .NET Core, and we will see that we have several templates with .NET Core. We will choose the one which says ASP.NET Core Web Application in C#. So I select that one, I click Next. We set a name for the project, Dependency Injection. Okay, I usually like to add the SLN suffix to the solution. That's just my convention. So I'll name it like that. We wait for the application to be created, and in this case what I want is we will create a simple application. So we will just create web application using MVC views, and yeah, we will set it that no authentication, and we will create the actual application based on the template and the configuration we just set. So one of the first things we are going to do is we are going to create some configuration here for our custom values. So let's see, we will have something like Facebook connector configuration, connector configuration. And here we will have something like app ID, and we will just put some test values there. Let's add the other one, secret key, or whatever we want to name it, FB secret. Okay, and yeah, we have to add the comma there. Okay, so we already have this file with some configuration. Now what we are going to do is we are going to create a class that will be able to hold those values. So let's add a folder, custom configurations, okay, and we will add a class named Facebook connector configuration. So we know this will be a class that will hold the values in the app settings section. Okay, so this one will have app ID and secret key as properties, public string app ID get set. We have that one ready. Now we will add this secret key, public string secret key get set, Excellent. So now we will need to indicate to the system that how to actually create an object from this class when using dependency injection. So we are going to take this name. We are going to go to the startup.cs file where we will find the configure, the options to configure. Okay, so we will configure the application, configuration.bind, and here we will bind a key from the config to an actual object instance. So I'll change that. I'll create an instance. We need to import the namespace. Okay. Okay. So now, as soon as this line it's run, this Facebook connector configuration will be filled with the values that we have in the configuration. So let's run the application a second. To verify that, let's set a breakpoint there. Let's wait for a couple of seconds for the application to load, and when the breakpoint is hit, we should see it with the values already filled if everything was configured correctly. After that, okay. So we see that the app ID and secret key already have the values which are in the app settings.json file. Okay. So now, if you have some experience with .NET Core, you already know that one of the features it has is dependency injection, and it allows you to inject classes or interfaces in your controllers, constructors, pretty much everything in running in the .NET Core application. One of the most common approaches is to inject some interfaces or classes into your controllers, constructors. So let's see, we will use that Facebook configuration. And yeah, this is still not going to work. I just want to show some of the already implemented. No, those were in Microsoft ASP.NET Core. I believe it's hosting environment. Let's see. Okay. So if I run this, I will probably get an exception. Let's see how it goes. So I run this, and we see that it says it was enabled to resolve the service for type Facebook connector configuration because I haven't actually set it as a service. So I'll remove it from here. No, I'm sorry. I remove it from the constructor for a second. Now when I run this application, this should work, and we should see that the emp variable it's already filled with data. So there is a service or built in or already configured in .NET Core that actually indicates how to create an instance from the iHosting environment interface and how to inject it. So that's pretty much what we are going to do with our configuration class. So it's Facebook connector configuration. Facebook connector configuration. Now here we see that we have configuration bind, but we also need to add it to the services. So here we'll go and do services dot add singleton. Let's use the Facebook configuration connector configuration type, and we will pass as parameter the instance we just created there. So now this basically tells to the application that whenever there is a request for this class for independence injection, it will create or it will retrieve this exact object since it's configured as a singleton. So now that means that when our constructor is reached, we will have this class or this object already filled with the actual values we require. So that's how to use custom configurations and dependency injection in .NET Core applications. Now, there is something that actually has annoyed me in a couple of a lot of times when I have seen this. The feature of dependency injection actually allows developers to add plenty of parameters in constructors, and to my opinion, a constructor should not have more than 3 parameters. It actually really looks ugly if you have a huge amount of parameters in a constructor. So my recommendation in those cases or those scenarios when you actually need a lot of configuration for the same controller. Let's say that, for example, this home controller for some reason needs to merge data from Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and other social media or other sources. And it needs like connectors configuration, one for each of those platforms. So what I will do is I will actually create something like home controller configuration. So I will do something like this, home controller configuration. Okay. Now I will do something like Facebook controller configuration. Okay, good. Set. Okay. So now we have this home controller configuration. I'll go to home controller configuration. Home controller configuration. Now I'll go to the startup. Yes, we will bind this Facebook connector configuration. But now we'll create a new instance of that home controller configuration. Okay. And now I will start adding to the properties I will start adding the or filling the actual properties for that configuration. Okay. So Facebook controller configuration is equal to that Facebook controller configuration. And now instead of doing a lot of parameters, I will just add a singleton for this home controller configuration. And this will actually allow me to have plenty of configurations in the same variable, taking advantage of the dependency injection feature without making the class or constructor to look very ugly. So with this setup, whenever I need to add a new platform, the only thing that I will need to do is just create a new property for that home controller configuration, or whoever that class is named, and add the in the configuration, in the startup, set the actual property value retrieved from the binding in the configuration settings or in the app settings file. And if you see, in this case, I will only have these two parameters. And in this case, I could do something similar to that, though since this is already built in, it is better to just leave it like it is. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you, how to create some configurations and how to make your controller look a little bit better without having way too many parameters. If you want to keep learning about .NET Core, Azure, Unity3d, and any other development in general, even also Power BI, feel free to subscribe or send an email and follow us in social media. Thank you very much. Have a great day.